having a good time together. So we're going to interrupt that for just a little brief moment where we have a great lineup of 10 poets. These poets are going to be speaking in the wild language of other animals, so these are mostly persona poems, and this is in celebration of my new book, Penguin Noir. So Penguin, yeah, thanks. Penguin Noir is a dirty, weird book, but I hope you buy it and love it. So so it's in the voices of penguins that live in World of the Sea, which is actually SeaWorld. And so the whole premise is at the end of the world, the only place that will be able to have climate control will be a beer garden. And so we'll probably all end up in an amusement park at the very end. And this is like a preview of that done through the voices of penguins. So the poems that you're hearing tonight are the voices of penguins in captivity. So I think one of the interesting things that I learned in researching this is that if a penguin is born in SeaWorld, they get a name. So if you're born inside of SeaWorld, you get a name, but if you're brought in from the wild, you just get a number. So some of the penguins only have numbers, and so tonight I'll be reading from penguin number 625, to the conveyor belt of eyes who watch her bang her own body against the glass walls. There was a time I was like water, my outer layer opening and bringing brine near as second skin. I was swimming for others, yes, of course. This was my course, swallowing silver flicker after silver flicker until I was a wet fire, failing to empty into my family. Sure, I was this, but I was water too. Could outswim Sill's jaw by releasing ocean from under feather, sea and me transformed into a vein of light in depths, an ever-heaving darkness. I was more than this bulk of self-caged. I was the sea, and the sea was me, and we intertwined, touched until we could not tell one from the other. If I'm not well, neither sea. Give me this failing chance to save. Free me. So I hope you noticed that, like, the queen of noir poetry just walked in the building. This is Suzanne Lummis, the godmother of Los Angeles poetry scene, and truly, like if I wrote, this is a good reminder. If I wrote a book about noir, it was because of her. So I'm so grateful for everything that you have taught me and everything that you have done for me. So thank you.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm thrilled too. I'm so excited when random things just fall out of my book and celebrities fall into my lap. How does that happen? That's so exciting. Okay, this book is a book of like voiceover. So the book gets interrupted by another voice that kind of starts narrating what's going on in the book. So, walking the implied Sea of Wonders amusement park, monologuing as though an audience were listening, part 4. I'm about to say something about God and anthropomorphism. Something about showmanship of disasters. The sea lions are really the best show. Concrete and gravity grinding their bones to dust while they waddle out a conga line. I've heard scientists can man-make diamonds fine as the shine of extinction. We kill each other for that promise. I do. I swim with belugas when there's a 2-for-1 special. I buy the photo of my son and me standing on the cement shore, waist deep in freezing water, as the face of God rises up and pretends to kiss us. I nearly blind the whale because I don't know where to put my hands when leaning in for a hug. Anthropomorphism is wrong. I know this. Wrong is ending the world. But we do it. We do. Anything for a good story. Now, slow death is a show. Dolphins are pushing human dancers 40 feet into the air. Humans as birds without wings are falling without health insurance. All right, so I'm going to read one more poem from the voice of penguin number 625. And then I'm going to turn it over to these other crazy animal voices that are going to entertain us tonight. So, penguin number 625 begins to suffer from dissociative disorder caused by repetitive self-inflicted head traumas. You remember something something like flying. But of course, you never flew, you never could. You are in space so full of birds who are no sort of sky. It's impossible to move. Every day you go to the edge where the mouthful of knives flash at you. A glass of forward-facing eyes watches you dive. Full force, you smack your head against the bottom. At bottom, there's a spot marked just from you. Was pain for them? Red turned murky, the stain mistaken for a hole dug by blood? You can feel yourself escaping. When you rise, all penguins take one step back. Something mad about this one is what they say about you. Something mad about you is the only things penguins ever say to you. Once nearly all penguin is beat out of you, a set of forward-facing eyes becomes flashing knives that never bite. The lie of what is worse than incision. Picked up from the ground, you are something like your failings. You are flying outside of ice and into a small container where you'll stay until the bleeding gives up. Healed, you'll be returned to try again, only harder, to break into liquid sky. You are a main show attraction. You have become the penguin who wants to fly. Great, thank you guys. I forgot my own instructions. So coming up next is Kathleen. I'm so excited to hear her.
So 2 poems I'm going to read. The first is from Nikel's amazing book, and I don't know if you know this, you probably do, that it is actually an award-winning book, right? It's on the back, but the whole award, it's a beautiful book. The poem I'm going to read is Old Macaroni, Lost Tag. This macaroni you may recognize from the documentary The Hunters Become the Hunted, where a penguin pushes his whole family off a cliff so he'll survive. Well, survive he did, and will continue to do so until he dies in the coffin-shaped enclosure known as Encounters. He prizes his safety above all else. At least that's what he thought until an egg was involved. How many of us put ourselves in a zoo and don't think about the cage until a child is nesting next to us on the couch, their smartphone blocking the TV show we want to show them? So many images of nature, we struggle ever to make it outside. Thank you, Nikel. Nikel asked us to write a persona poem, so I wrote one in response to that, called There's a Bear in the Room. I sleep all winter, return to routine come spring, out of caves stumbling blurry-eyed and drunk on dreams, foraging my way home to find a mess some girl made. Uneaten porridge, unmade beds, clothes all over the floor. Where did she go? Did she marry? Grow gray, soft, witchy, find another forest and sell porridge on Etsy? Rebrand herself as a wellness coach? Is she here now? Will she please stand up? I need her to deal with the bear in the room, the one standing at the microphone, upright and leaning in your ear. Lean on persona, long on ideals. Optimistic list maker, afternoon nap taker, Great Lake swimmer, Big Dipper, day tripper, grumpy, furry, and blurry, boss of the moss walk, optimistic tree hugger, friend to bees, comes in threes, loud when I sneeze, happy at the dump, top of the mount, digging through what you threw out. Not just playing house, but living here for real. Bear with me as I clear and clean up this mess made by a child who came like the sun shining on our tongues, here until winter comes. Thank you. Up next is my husband, Rich Peterson.
Oh, Nikel, thank you for having me, all of us, here tonight. You always throw the best parties, so thank you. Because the last poem cannot be the last poem. Evil is fast and loud. Good is quiet and slow. So make yourself visible. Our lives depend on it. The bullet makes its case for spirit animal. I know what you think you want. A creature with wings, an eagle perhaps, or a dove that apologizes for the invention of war whenever you bleed. But I am what arrives when everything else lies perished, punished, or is simply too slow. Call me bullet. The one fueled by vengeance, velocity, and a world of reckless decisions. I'll teach you how to move through life, how to derange and devour when you're starving and broken. I've witnessed the fall of the Byzantine Empire, armed the Ottomans, reveled in the invention of the slide action and semi-automatic, bled my way through 2 world wars, Korea, Vietnam, Kent State, Columbine, Port Arthur, and Christchurch. I've seared through flesh and folklore, shattered ribs and well-being. I filled mouths with regrets whose taste can never be spit away. Call me bullet. Allow me to fill in the trenches you've dug deep in your heart to escape my name. Allow me to dance with your dread, to propel your pulse to 900 miles an hour. Why choose a spirit animal who will apologize for their actions or be weighed down by guilt? If you want to learn how to hunger without shame, how to soar towards your target without veering off course, I am your dream breaker, your ghost maker. Should you survive me, my memory will still follow. My teeth clenched on nightmares, you're too traumatized to chew. So embrace me, place me on your tongue, make me your brutal Eucharist. Know that I understand speed, intent, the absolute physics of consequence. I'll teach you how to enter another without asking permission, how to rupture, disengage, how to live with decisions you can never change. And on those nights you can't sleep, when everything smells like cordite and contempt, and your brain is a trigger, and your last breath can't exit your body fast enough, I'll be right beside you, whispering in your ear, aim true or don't aim at all. Up next, Zachary Jensen.
St. Francis. The retractor anguli oculi laterus, developed in domesticated dogs somewhere between 15 and 40,000 years ago as a method of connecting more closely to their human counterparts. Better known as the eyebrow, it allowed canines to express what has come to be known as puppy dog eyes, creating a pathway for empathy and love between species. And yours captured my heart immediately. I found you in the park when I was taking a short break during a bicycle ride around town as an escape from the solitude and stress of my current situation. At only about a week old, you were so delicate and fragile in size that it was impossible to know if you would be able to survive without nursing and care from your mother. But it was clear from the fact that you were discarded carelessly next to a rubbish bin, if I did not do something for that little ball of fur curled up before me, you'd be gone within the day. You were apprehensive, with deep expressive eyes that had barely opened, filled with a mix of need and fear, growling weakly as I reached down to place you in my hand that you couldn't even half fill. What are you even going to do, little one? I said gently before placing you in my pocket and riding my bicycle the short distance towards my home, towards a future forever changed by those eyes. That first night was filled with worry, stress, hope, and other yet unnamed emotions, as I frantically looked up how to feed an infant puppy so that she could survive the night. A makeshift formula was made from veterinarian videos found online and placed into a bottle found in a cabinet that I used to feed you like an infant, as you were cradled gently into the crook of my arm. And somehow, the next morning, I awoke to you alive and well, hopping around the room with your little bark, making valiant efforts to get up and onto the bed to be near me. I picked you up and you looked my face. Looking at you, at those deep brown eyes, I was unsure if I would be able to save you, to give you the life that you needed and deserved, but in reality, it wasn't you who was going to be saved. And a non-animal poem, this one's called Unforgettable. I remember hating when my grandmother would play her music in the evening hours of the house. Moments that I felt should have been filled with the sounds of the television, or if I was lucky, the Nintendo, were overtaken by Patsy Cline and my grandma singing in harmony to Crazy, or a duet with Elvis as Can't Help Falling in Love belted across the hall. I would roll my eyes to every note of Moon River or Chances Are, but who's sorry now? I fall to pieces, thinking that I'll never hear her sing those sappy love songs that I wish I could block out, but are now unforgettable. Because try as I might, I can't remember the sound of her singing. Like the dementia that took her memory, time has robbed me of the auditory recollection that sits on the borders of my mind. I know it was beautifully filled with stardust, and please forgive me if smoke gets in your eye, brings a tear to mine. But we'll meet again one sunny day, and I'll gladly listen then. Next we have a recording for
Hello, thank you, Mikkel, for having us, and we're happy to be here celebrating Mikkel with everyone. I'm going to read 2 persona poems today. The first one is The Animal. It's called The Urban Coyote Ponders Modern Feminism. Look how far we've come. Look how we've adapted to scraps, to people's trash. Aren't we lucky we have the freedom to roam a golf course at dusk as long as no one sees us? Look how we've grown beyond natural predators, they say. How nice it must be, safe in these vacant lots and cemeteries. No matter we've relegated ourselves to the shadows, why not call it a choice? How ready they are to label us nuisance. Publish tips on not playing the victim, on conflict resolution. Take away their easy food source, they say. Shout or throw things at us is a common refrain. Once I stayed out too late past dawn into a day I was not welcome. Some were afraid of what anger I might wield. Others felt threatened by the very existence of a hunger that was wholly mine. I simply wanted to know the sweet smell of sunshine on Jacaranda, the safe contrast of shade in this harrowing season where not enough of us make it out alive. And this second one is after 2 French scientists named Maurice and Katia Kraft. They were known for their daring film footage of natural disasters, and they died together in the 1991 eruption of Mount Unsen. Love letter from a volcanologist. My darling Katia, There is a hunger that is greater than yours or mine, a grumbling in the gut of the earth. We spent our lives trying to map this appetite. All I wanted was to understand how lava loves the hillside, the devouring of flowers. I wanted to believe I could memorize your terrain so completely you could crumble, and I would still know exactly where to press my lips, which finger to slip the ring on. All our searching, love, for these rivers too insatiable to touch. Now you and I are an instant of vapor and fire over Unzen's unrelenting spine. Graveyard of matching bones and flashbulbs. Katya, volcanoes have been mistaken for many things. The wrath of gods, Earth's tear ducts, friction of the wind. As the magma pooled at our feet, how familiar that heat, your body surrendering beneath me. If you can hear me now, through igneous and ash, take my silica-laden hands. And though I know science calls it impossible to create a perfect darkness, Katya, we've never been closer than this.
Hello, thanks everyone for being here. It's so cool having this many people in the audience, and you're all beautiful and good at listening, so thank you for being here. And also thank you, Nicole, for inviting people and bringing people together in general. Okay, sorry. I'm going to read 2 poems, and the first one is from Suzanne Lomas's class, a few years ago, and it's called Mating Season. Okay. Mating Season. The married couple smiles for the camera until babies come out. Together, we ask Jesus to bless our meal so that he won't kill us when we die. A girl tells me she thought Jews had horns. I bow to a plate of iceberg salad in service of Jesus. A baby cries, poor Jesus. I fall asleep Jewish, but wake up in service of Jesus. A buck stands frozen outside. How do you know when a doe is in heat? The buck stays with the doe for up to 72 hours, leaves when she stops being receptive. I am no one's bridesmaid without a +1. I dance with the bride and groom, trying not to be sexual. Once I wanted a friend just so I could be someone's bridesmaid. Now the bride and groom disappear as individuals, bound to each other for Jesus. This is Bible studies. This is mandatory fun. This is the 7th dead deer I haven't killed. That's that one. Okay, this one is called Whale Rats Are the Future. It's inspired by an article from Vox about predicted life forms in 1 billion years from now, and one of them is a whale rat, so a whale developing fins. And this is interesting because in Indochus, which is how a whale started, looks kind of like a rat deer, so this is why I wrote this poem. Whale rats are the future. A whale rat swims to me with small whiskers and cries, "Look what you did to me." The Indochus is one of the earliest known ancestors of whales. There are so many ways to shapeshift out of being prophetic. The ghost of an Indochus runs to the rat in a dream. You aren't supposed to realize it's happening as it happens. How whale rats rotate into existence, little fins so romantic. When I close my eyes, I can almost imagine swimming forever. Look what you did to me. Life on this sinking supercontinent, full of smoke in the shape of clouds. Don't wait for me. I'm holding my breath underwater, longer this time. I'm so close to inhaling ocean. Thank you. Okay, next up we have Jeremy Raw, the incredible Jeremy Raw, who has a chapbook with Blvd Press, and also runs a series through Poetry LA, where he interviews famous poets. Please check it out on Poetry LA, Jeremy Raw. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Hannah. I love you. And Mikkel, thank you so much, of course. I mean, I think I'm echoing everybody's sentiment here, saying that you just bring you put together a wonderful event, you bring wonderful people together, so thank you for letting me be a part of this. I'm going to read 2 persona poems that have animals in them instead of a true animal persona poem. I have one of those, but I didn't want Mikkel to get bored of me. She's heard that poem about 17 times. So, this poem is about actually Janice Carter, who rehabilitated Lucy the chimp. I don't know if you guys remember Lucy the chimp, who was actually raised kind of in a human settings, and it was the great experiment at that time to actually hopefully have Lucy become act more like a human being, which of course failed, and it just turned out to be rather unusually cruel in the end. Janice Carter lives in Gambia for years to rehabilitate Lucy the chimp back into the wild. I have a mirror that Lucy cherished that I occasionally use to remind me of my face, something other people saw. But like her, I have lost interest. Every day, the forest is a blank page we doodle on with our foraging, and the night crumples it up and then gives us another page blank like the mouth of daybreak. It might take another lifetime to unlearn my society, like how the idea of green, the pulsing, I was taught in print, is never the pulsing, curdling shades I see on these trees. But I still hold on to my typewriter, and when I feel the urge, write to the few whose names I have kept in my memory chest. Dear life who pretends an image of me. I almost feel my reporting of events as a betrayal of this life, a life from which I could saw myself off clean like a limb. With each day, I see Lucy growing closer to the other chimps. I feel her almost forgetting me, and the part of herself that wanted to be someone's child. Okay, this one is called Prometheus from 9 to 5. What song does the bird bring today? It's familiar, all too familiar, but in recognition lies a blinding kind of joy. The bird has no rage and I no hate. The pecking of my liver is a striking of a chord. We sing together until sunset, and I bid the bird adieu, adieu. Will you love me again tomorrow? Even though the gods know I've come awake enough times, I never forget a kind gesture. Sometimes a bird carries in its beak a little ale that it drops on my lips. And the same song sounds sweeter, the pecking becomes joyful. Each breath jolts. I mean this, I can drink all I want because I can't drink anymore. The sun chariot scurries to the nether once more. The bird and I sing adieu, adieu. Tomorrow the bird may bring a pinch of salt and a mouthful of wine. And we'll sing our song again. Humanity is a fine wine that injures me. All this bleeding, all this toil. Just look, I still have the fire. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Congrats, Nicole. We love you, Nicole. Thank you. Yes, a million thank yous. By the time the farmer's up to see if my chicks, his hens, have laid eggs, I have already ruffled every feather in this hen house. He'll have no choice but to eat those things scrambled. And he better be the most thankful, as those are the fruits of my labor. As the head of this pecking party, the pecking order is set by who is the best in my head, and in my head, the best head comes with no pecking. You might know me from the ring as Cockfight Champion 2017 and as the Hen Prowler on the Citizens app. My feathers are thick and long and veiny. I can't help but to peacock. I've got an image to uphold, because for these chicks, not just any cockle-doo. Just a bunch of cheap jokes. To keep with the animal theme, I have a chapter coming out at some point. It's about my dad taking me to go to an exorcism. They tried to get the gay out of me, and then he also took me to go see a curandera in Tijuana. So it's like a spiritual healer. She was wild. She opened up the Bible, she prayed, and she said, let's get this out of you. So she gave me medicine. We paid money for her to give me medicine to turn me straight. But nobody like checked up on me. Nobody said, are you taking the pills? You know, like nobody counted them at the end of the day. So they get thrown away. And this is what I wrote. After several weeks, neither my father or the doctor, la curandera, made it a point to check on my progress. I wondered if the pills were like antibiotics in the sense that they would only work if I took all of them. I'd like to think that somewhere at the bottom of a landfill, there is a little gay rat who had even less tolerable parents than I did. I hope that he finds the pills and takes them daily because he is literate and could understand the label. I hope that his smaller size equates to the pills being extra concentrated. I hope he can bring a tiny mouse girlfriend home in a couple of weeks, and his father will be so enthralled that he offers to pay for the entire wedding if they promise to give him grandbabies before the season changes. I hope the little grandbabies get to have sleepovers at their grandfather's burrow while mom and dad have their date nights in an Olive Garden dumpster where they find breadsticks marinating in marinara sauce to grub on. I hope that he becomes so straight that the lady mouse finds messages from one of his lady coworkers with emojis she thought he didn't know how to use. I hope she can confront him and that he owns up to it immediately and asks for a transfer to a different branch location to escape the problem. I hope she can forgive him but not forget entirely, and this results in her creating a joint Instagram account where they can post couple photos to show how much they love each other to the rest of the mouse world. I hope they seek real help. Next up, we have Olivia Rudy.
Drop it way down. Congratulations, Nickel.
Yeah.
You've always been my favorite. You're a dog person, so here's a dog poem. Dear Orpheus, we were so excited to see you coming down the path to hell, you with your good intentions. Hades has never seen our tail wag with such delight. No one who comes this way ever thinks to pat our free snouts, let alone stops to play us a lullaby. Every song trapped in our throats yearns to break free in a chorus of howls. You thought you had lulled us to sleep, but the truth is we only wanted to close our 6 eyes for a moment to daydream about life above ground. Do you take your own hounds to roll in fields of heather or to hunt slim-legged deers across the cool moss on Florida's floor? We miss the chase, long to be unleashed and free to roam in the sun, far above the shadows of our netherworld prison. The men who immortalized your journey back from hell focused on your failing Eurydice, blamed you for losing her twice. But in all the heroic ballads, never a second thought for the souls you left behind, whimpering for one last kindness. We are still here at the gates, our 3 heads resting on our paws, wondering what we could have done to stay your step. We wait for your return, hoping for that someday when you answer the questions every dog asks. Who's a good boy? Who's a very good boy? I mentioned sardines, but it's not about sardines. Okay, so everyone remembers hide and seek. So sardines is where it hides and you go looking for it. and then you all hide together until the last person finds the group. So this is the God of sardines. God is a lowercase g kind of God, the kind who wears Converse low tops and hoodie sweatshirts, the fabric broken into a comfortable slouch to shrug on in October over a Halloween costume. God is a good sport about being it when we play sardines. Doesn't mind being the first one chosen to hide, while the rest of us count to 20. God hides tucked between the coats in a cedar-lined closet, the inside perfumed like a grove in Lebanon. God lays quilts down on the wooden floor to build a comfortable nest. Blankets we use later to make tents or forts when we move on to new games. God stifles giggles as we race through a darkened house with flashlights, the beams of light slicing the blackness into triangles. When I find God and ask, "Are you the sardine?" God answers with a laugh, then scoots over to make room. God holds my small hand while we listen for the squeak of sneakers in the hall. God promises that God is always found, no matter how long it takes, is patient with the fumbling search. God protects our kneeling knees with pillows during the long wait, keeps us gently sardined until the last player finds him. And God doesn't need to be it all the time. It's okay letting someone else new take a turn. Nancy, woo!
Well, thank you, Nicole, for having me in this wonderful event. And since I'm the last reader, I just want to say, I'm sure we all most here know and love Nicole. For anyone in the audience who doesn't, let me just tell you, she is an incredible human and a brilliant writer. This book is amazing. The book before it that I read also is amazing. She's actually just truly brilliant. And this book actually won an award, the Changing Light Novel and Verse Award. So if you are here and you do not yet have her book, please rectify that before the end of the evening. So, and she always does fun things like this. Like I wrote an animal persona poem, thanks to this deadline. I always need a deadline, and because I need deadlines, I read this book this morning actually. So you should read it before you come. And it's amazing. And so I read this poem that felt like I wrote my poem like 3 days ago. And then I read this one this morning, and I'm going to read it to you, and they go together. And I'll tell you the one line that I was like, if I were raunchier, like I would have put this in my poem. So here it is. Okay. Walking the streets of the Sea of Wonders amusement park, monologuing as though an audience were listening. This is part one. I'm about to say something about porn and aliens. Something about opportunity and lack of. Voyeuring life from a conveyor belt. I ride the view again and again, giving penguins reasons for existing, even after their lives are compressed to a glass tank of layering guano. Penguins as preview of Armageddon. Home, a large window into last chances. It resembles suburbia. From a distance, aliens and humans. Aliens find humans romantic. Hell, so do I. I have let the idea of love kill love. Here's how sperm is harvested from orcas. I read it in a book. Trainers have a hen orca just look from some distance at a female orca. She's in heat. There is no touching, just sight, smell, and maybe sound. Let's say it's music that makes him come. Anyhow, my point is, just the idea of sex is enough. A quirk of apex predators, ideas are enough. We had this idea the world could end. And the line that is the precursor to my poem is, it's music that makes him come. Okay, and so I have a riddle. I have a riddle if anyone wants to try and guess my animal before I read it. What's been heard but not seen is huge but appears tiny and is the only verifiable one of its kind. Anyone? All right, I've stumped you. Okay. So I don't think I need to tell you, I'll just read the poem. 52 Blue sings. Who is 52 Blue, they ask. He or she? Blue or fin whale? Or a mix of the two? The loneliest whale, they call me. The 52 Hertz soloist. A decades-long mystery as vast as the sea I breathe. Phantom fingerprint on their machines. Ghost who's never been seen. They imagine I spend my days crying out for someone to answer. They think no one can hear me, but I was born with the gift of a silver tongue. The kelp listen in a rapture as I wrap myself in their fronds. The crabs reach up to grab each pellet of melody I drop for them. All dolphins delight in leaping through the ring of music I spin in our circus of play. I am not one sad beast in a silent sea. I swim through the deep, crooning to the rhythm of the current in my skin. I adorn my days with the stories of seahorses and revel in the swish of a jellyfish. The oyster toad plays underwater bagpipes as the pistol shrimp snaps his outsized claws to the beat. What they call ocean, I call encyclopedia of song. A whale of 1,000 ears should be my name. I am a series of clicks lighting up a sonic map only I can see. Thick padding of water amplifying each harmony. Up above, they have no words for this dimension I live in. Everything lusty with the peel of living. All they perceive is a fragment. All they see is a fin above the surface, a fraction of the whole giant below. All they hear is a snippet of a soundtrack for a movie they've never seen. A soundbite for the end times, curled up in the dark, cradling a glowing screen, feeling sorry for me, while I bask in a kaleidoscope of chimes. They are obsessed with me, speculating maybe she's in agony, maybe she's a new species, maybe there's another one like her out there somewhere. What they detect in my whistle reflects the muffled shriek of their own despair. I am the perfect projection of their sorrow. Easier to squint a tear out over my singular heartache than acknowledge the groan of the collective during the last movement of the mammal's funeral march. As the water warms, grief booms louder and louder, acoustics warped from the acidic pH. I take to heart sea lions barking on the move as they look for more food, humpbacks echoing a desperate search, bottlenose mothers clinging to stillborn calves, new diseases trailing down the food chain in a cacophony of collapse. I hear voices calling out into the void questions about the future of life on this lonely planet, firing radio waves into space that just bounce back. They're used to stories with bleak endings. But maybe, just maybe, in the last act, they hope against hope. An orchestra of ideas will appear from behind the curtain. Symphony of answers, astonishing everyone in a surprise crescendo of salvation. Before the lights go out and all that's left are screens. Thank you.
Fantastic audience, thank you so much. You've listened to an entire book full of animal poems. Does anyone actually like their favorite animal is a penguin? Is there truly your favorite animal is a penguin? So for you, I have a $25 gift certificate. To Village Well, and I just wanted to say thank you to Village Well. Like, if it wasn't for the support of bookstores, there's no way that poetry and poetry would exist. Thank you guys for being a part of